Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, I have to admit, when I first looked at the sources you sent for today, investing in vintage video games, my first thought was, really?
Right. It seems a bit out there at first glance.
Exactly. But then, wow, the numbers just hit you. So our mission today really is to unpack how these pixelated memories so many of us grew up with have somehow turned into serious financial assets.
Yeah.
And here's the bit that, truly blew my mind straight away.
Yeah.
Some of these old games, apparently they've appreciated faster than gold. Faster than real estate even over the last decade. My big question, and I bet yours too, is just how? How is that possible?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or perhaps the $2 million question.
Right.
Because it's not just talk. The most striking example from the sources really nails this. A sealed copy of Super Mario Bros., the original 1985 one.
Okay.
It recently sold at auction for, get this, $2 million.
$2 million. For one game. Yeah.
$2 million. So yeah, that one sale really just throws a spotlight on the incredible financial potential hidden in this pretty unique market.
Wow, $2 million. I'm just picturing my mom probably gave away my entire Nintendo collection at a garage sale for $5. I think I need a minute.
I hear that a lot, actually. Painful.
Seriously, though, what are the actual forces behind that kind of money? I mean, fundamentally, it's just a plastic cartridge with some code, right?
Yeah.
The sources seem to break it down. Rarity is the first thing.
Rarity is definitely foundational, yeah.
But it's more than just they didn't make many, isn't it? What are the sort of nuances the sources talk about for identifying what's really scarce in the gaming world?
That's a great point. It's not always just about low print runs, although that matters. The research points out other things, like maybe a game came out right at the end of a console's life.
Like when everyone was already moving on to the next big thing.
Exactly, like some late-era N64 games. Or maybe there were distribution problems. Very few copies actually made it to certain countries or stores. Okay.
This creates what the sources called artificial rarity, which the market seems to value really highly. Think about that Nintendo game, Stadium Events.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one, the really rare one.
That's the one. Super obscure, incredibly few copies actually got sold before it was recalled. And recently, one of those sold for, what was it, over $40,000?
40 grand. For Stadium Events, that's just mind-boggling. But, I mean, does that kind of crazy rarity bring its own problems? Like, how many people are actually buying a $40,000 game? Is it hard to sell?
That's a fair question. Illiquidity can definitely be a risk at the very high end. Yep. The buyer pool is smaller, absolutely.
And it feels like there's something else going on beyond just scarcity. The sources really hit hard on nostalgia, right? That emotional pull.
Oh, absolutely. While rarity sets the stage, you could argue the emotional connection is what makes this market really unique. It kind of begs the question, what's the real value of a memory,
Yeah.
As the people who grew up playing these games, say NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, as they get older, have more disposable income. They want to recapture that feeling.
Precisely. That desire to sort of own a piece of your childhood becomes incredibly strong. Collectors aren't just buying plastic and silicon, they're buying history, their personal history.
That makes sense.
And this demand, it isn't purely speculative bubbles, it's rooted in a shared cultural moment. That translates directly into financial value. Though, of course, like any collectible, the intensity can change. It can shift across different generations.
So it's the story, the feeling wrapped up in the object. Okay, I get that. But let's say you do find that box of old games in the attic. It sounds like it's not as simple as just finding any old Mario game.
Not at all.
The market data, the sources, they make it clear. Strategy is vital, like any investment. When they talk about condition, for example, it sounds like it means more than just still in the shrink wrap.
Oh, much more. Yeah.
Are there, industry standards, specific terms people should know?
Absolutely. This is where professional grading comes in, and the sources really emphasize this. Companies like Wada Games or VGA, you've probably heard of them.
Yeah, they put things in those clear plastic cases.
Exactly. They meticulously examine everything, the box, the shrink wrap, if it's sealed, the manual, the card itself. They look for any flaws anywhere.
And give it a score.
Right. They assign these numerical grades, often with letter modifiers too, like a 9.8 A++ sealed. A game with that kind of top-tier grade. It can be worth exponentially more than one that's just sealed, but maybe has a dented corner or a small tear.
Wow. So that grade becomes the benchmark.
It really does, especially for serious investors.
Yeah.
And it's also crucial to know terms like CIB,
CAB.
complete inbox. So that means you have the original cartridge, the original box, the instruction manual, any posters or inserts that came with it originally,
Okay.
versus just a loose cartridge, which is literally just the game itself. For many high-end collectors, that completeness, that CIB status is absolutely essential.
That level of detail, just on condition alone, is really eye-opening. But condition isn't the only potential pitfall, is it? The sources also flag authenticity as a big one.
Critically important, yes.
Especially when you're talking potentially thousands or even millions of dollars. Counterfeits must be a huge worry.
They are a huge worry, and finding out you bought a fake, that can completely wipe out your investment, obviously. So verifying what you're buying, usually through trusted dealers or getting expert authentication, is just paramount.
Makes sense.
And this leads to another really critical piece of advice that comes through in the sources. This is not day trading. You're not flipping games week to week.
Right, it's a long game.
It's a long game. It's about building a collection, holding on to it, and letting it potentially appreciate over years, even decades.
Okay, so long-term hold, like fine wine or classic cars maybe.
Right.
But are there unique challenges or maybe unique upsides to that long hold specifically for video games?
That's a good question. The market is newer, maybe more volatile than some traditional collectibles.
So if someone listening is genuinely thinking, okay, I'm interested, maybe I want to dip my toe in, what is some concrete first steps? Beyond just, do your research, what do the sources suggest?
Well, they get pretty practical. They suggest maybe focusing your initial learning on specific console generations first.
Okay.
Because the market dynamics for, say, Atari 2600 games are totally different from Nintendo 64 or maybe early PlayStation.
Got it. Don't try to learn everything at once.
Exactly, maybe pick a lane. They also suggest looking into specific genres that tend to hold value well over time, often things like RPGs with strong stories or maybe platformers with iconic characters.
Interesting.
And crucially, they often advise against just chasing the most popular, hyped-up titles of the moment,
Really? Why is that?
because those might already be at their peak price. Instead, the advice is often to look for potentially undervalued sleepers games that meet those rarity and nostalgia criteria we talked about, but haven't hit the mainstream collector radar yet.
Ah, the hidden gems.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, networking. Talking to other collectors, joining forums, going to conventions maybe. That insider knowledge you get from the community is often stuff you just can't find easily online.
That's fascinating. It really sounds like it's as much about joining a passionate community as it is about the financial side.
I think that's a huge part of the appeal for many people, yes.
And maybe that's the real magic here, isn't it? That connection with people who have that same, deep-seated attachment to these specific bits of plastic and code.
It's a powerful blend.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it really seems like vintage video game investing is this unique mix. It's fun, it's definitely nostalgic, but it can also be a serious avenue for, diversifying your investments. It merges that financial thinking with something really personal.
It does, but just to reiterate, that strategic side is absolutely key. Always remember the importance of condition, authenticity, and having that long-term view.
Right, decades, not days.
Exactly. It's about holding these collections. And something else the sources touch on is watching broader cultural trends. There's been a big wave of 90s nostalgia recently, right?
Yeah.
Understanding those kinds of generational currents might help you anticipate which console era or which types of games might be the next big thing to appreciate. Kind of like trying to guess the next Super Mario Bros. In terms of value growth.
It's really not often you can say investing your money also lets you literally relive parts of your childhood. It's such a strange and interesting intersection of passion and potential profit.
It really is. And maybe that leads to a final thought for you, for the listeners, to sort of mull over. Think about how these things from our youth, things that seem so fleeting like video games,
Yeah.
how they can actually transform over time into real, tangible, valuable assets. And it makes you wonder, what other overlooked bits of pop culture from your past might be holding similar hidden value, just waiting to be rediscovered?